50th episode of the Minutes in Space podcast. I'm your host, Gary Solmanek. Joining us today for this very, very special episode, we got Jordan Marvick. You guys may have heard of him. One of ufology's finest researchers. He's got the double PhD from Melbourne University in Australia, recently moved back to the States, and now specializes in radio communications. Jordan, how you been?
I'm been great, Gary. Real good.
So tell us, what have you been up to since you've been back?
Well, first off, I would like to thank you for having me for this very special episode. It's an honor to be here. And but to answer your question, I've been just doing a lot of radio communication. I specialize in that, like you said, and just been doing a lot of research back at my home in Topeka.
Okay, so you're back in Topeka. That's where you were born, right?
Yes.
So you moved back home. Are you back with your parents?
No, actually, my mother just died. I'm just with my father now.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, they say she died.
What do you mean they say she...
You know exactly what I mean, Gary.
I know it's a sensitive subject, but that's something I think we'd all like you to elaborate on, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, well, police came to my house, told me my mother was dead, and I was like, okay, how do you know that? Where's her body? And there was no body to be found. I was like, okay, well, there's 3 explanations, Gary. 1.
Excuse me.
1. She got abducted by aliens. 2. Aliens are doing research on her in Topeka somewhere on Earth. Or 3. Aliens have killed her.
Now, which one of these 3 do you think is the most likely?
I'm thinking number 1, Gary.
You think just aliens just abducted her?
Exactly.
And do you have any ideas why her?
I think they're trying to get to me, to be honest. I mean, what better way to get to one of the most knowledgeable ufologists in the world than to take his mother?
I hope that's not the case.
Gary, I actually do hope it's the case. It's very simple math, Gary. I find my mother, I find aliens.
I don't want to dwell on that subject right now, but let's move on to your research. Would you like to tell us about what you've been doing since you've been back, as far as your radio communications?
I have an old radio in my Topeka cabin, and what I do is I set it to AM. I put it on, actually, almost the whole AM field of radio stations pick up alien communication. And not necessarily communication to Earth, but between each other and other species of aliens.
Right, we're just kind of caught in the middle.
Right, well, we just pick it up. I just pick it up. I found this out back in 86, that you can actually hear aliens through a radio.
What did you pick up back in 86?
86, I heard a species of aliens communicating to what I confirmed a different species of alien.
Do you have a name for it? Was it classified? Does anyone else know about it?
Right now we just have abbreviations, just like a pile of letters for each alien race.
What's this one from 86? What is the pile of letters?
From 86, so since 86 to now, I've heard this group of aliens, well, these 2 groups of aliens several times, and I categorize them as AM1 and AM2.
Okay, and is there a reason for AM? Does it stand for anything?
It's because of the radio that I used. It was on an AM station.
So you do the research with the AM radio. Is there any other possible way that you know of that other people like to communicate with the aliens outside of AM radio? Whether it be FM, whether it be satellite for that, got CB radios. I'm sure you've heard of Josh Schaber, who's actually really popular amongst that, part of the ufology community when it comes to long-range walkie-talkie communication.
Correct. Josh used to be one of my close colleagues before he dropped out as with his associate's degree. To be honest, Gary, I think he just he was a little scared of what he was finding out, because don't get me wrong, he was a great ufologist. Excuse me.
He's well known, and he's done some explicit research that a lot of people do look after and take examples from.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I specialize in the AM realm of communication. Josh does the long-range walkie-talkies. How the aliens got one of the walkie-talkies, I'm not sure, but that is another way of communication,
Yeah.
along with satellites. But that's probably the most, minute way to gain information and communication.
Fair enough. So have you heard of the recent allegations Josh has been saying about this your hoax of a communication platform?
I have heard.
And what is your response to?
It's just a classic story of, the little guy. He dropped out with his associates. I got my double doctorate. It's just a classic story of jealousy.
Do you believe that his method of research is valid?
He's using walkie-talkies, so I mean, one species of aliens would have had to have the other walkie-talkie. Not necessarily, because I know walkie-talkies pick up other signals on Earth, but extraterrestrial, I think not.
So you are accusing him of essentially conducting a hoax.
I didn't say that, Gary. No.
Okay. So I was talking to Robert Cornfield. From Colorado.
Good guy.
Yeah. Okay. And he was telling me he had a conversation with you. Now this is interesting. He had a conversation with you, and it was about that Josh Schauber and his research.
Okay.
And he said there's actually a huge cover-up going on with Josh's research. And
cover-up? What do you mean?
Well, he wouldn't exactly get into details, but what he was telling me was basically that Josh is onto something very, very huge. And, and the research that we know that is public is false research. His way of researching is completely false, and that he's not, in fact, using long-range walkie-talkies, but he's actually in direct communication right now with extraterrestrials.
Direct as in face-to-face?
No. He is communicating with aliens right now.
They are having verbal transactions.
Yes. That now, like I said, this is what Dr. Cornfield was telling me. They're actually having verbal interactions. And I know I probably shouldn't be saying this on the air, but the government will just probably think it's a big joke, a big circus anyway, so
They'll probably try and intercept it.
Well, yeah. Well, he's already been talking to them, so I think they're a little late on that. So apparently he's been doing all that research, and he's actually communicating with the aliens, and he at some point is going to come public and forward with all his research, and he might go down in history as the greatest ufologist we've seen, the greatest, maybe even man that has walked this earth, who's been able to capture the essence of life beyond Earth. He's been able to communicate, to give us answers for the questions of life that we all long for.
You're still talking about Josh? Okay.
The whole
Josh
long range.
I can assure you, Josh is not in direct contact with extraterrestrials. Because
and how can you know this, though?
Because I am in direct contact with extraterrestrials.
Not quite sure what to say. Do you have evidence of this, or is it?
I have a conversation here with me that I could play for your viewers. I'm only doing this to prove that Josh is a phony. But I do need to warn your viewers that this may be a little disturbing, if you will.
Okay, consider them warned. Take it away.
Hello. Hello, it's Jordan. Hello. It's Jordan Marvick. Hello. Are you there? Yeah, this is Jordan Marvick, double doctorate from Melbourne University. I have contacted you before. Do you know Josh? Can you repeat that? That's it. That was a recording I just played for you.
Speculation, questions, disbelief. What do you say to people who say this is fake?
I actually asked them, what's real? I would not have gone to school at Melbourne for as long as I did, 16 years, if I didn't have proof beforehand that UFOs existed and aliens. I have quite an collection of alien conversations, as a matter of fact. I can tell you, actually, from these conversations, I can tell you a few things about the actual physical structure of the alien as far as vocal cords go and things like that.
You can tell us about this.
Yeah, I could tell you that many species of aliens have more than one vocal cord and at least 3 1/4 tongues.
3 1/4 tongues?
Yes, it's not enough to be 4, but
it's
bit.
Impressive that you know just the anatomy, enough about the anatomy of these aliens to know if they actually have tongues. So, I mean, they are somewhat similar to us.
Yeah, well, yes.
This information you have here, I've never heard it before. Have you ever come out to the public or to SETI about it?
I haven't told the public this information. You're the first to hear, Gary, and your viewers.
Well, we're beyond fortunate to be the first. Other than these communications, have you ever had any events that you could tell us about that haven't been publicized already? And of course, publicly ridiculed by the government.
Right. One thing that comes to mind is when I was with one of my younger colleagues, Xavier. Him and I were doing some research. We're actually in the field. It wasn't like a cornfield or anything, like crop circles and all that. It was just a grass open field. We had some radios out there. Next thing I know, there's a few what looks like shooting stars shooting across the sky. Well, these shooting stars looked like shooting stars, but they would come back right as they left vision. They would reappear from that spot of disappearance.
Wow.
And so what happened is that Xavier thought it would be funny to taunt these stars. I don't even think he didn't even go to Melbourne. I don't even know where he went to school. I don't even know why he was my colleague. I think he won some sort of sweepstakes to, be a colleague for a day with me. But, I'll never do that again.
What was he doing?
He was just yelling at the shooting star, quote unquote. He was like, "Hey! Hey!" I was like, "Xavier, what are you doing?" He's like, "Jordan, hold on. I've done this before." "Hey! Hello!" I was like, "I'm getting out of here. I'm going in to my car and I'm leaving right now." He's like, "Jordan, come on. Just chill out." And I was like, "No, I'm leaving." So I get into my car.
Wait. What was the reason that you were getting so freaked out? Just the fact that he was taunting
because
ETs.
Exactly. You never ever taunt extraterrestrials. Reason is, if they want to show themselves, which they were, then they are about to do experimentation on planet Earth. That's common sense, you know this. So, anyway, so I'm driving away in my car, and I still hear this little Xavier kid going, "Hello! Come down here!"
God. Wow.
I was like, this next thing I know, about 7 to 8 shooting stars zip down. I get knocked out unconscious. I'm still driving my car, going about 25 into a ditch. I come to, it's daytime. Xavier's gone. No one's seen him since.
So you got 6 of these things coming down and just whacking you.
Whacking Xavier because he taunted him. He might as well have been saying, "Hey, experiment on me, huh?"
God, that is incredible.
It's funny now, Gary, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, well, this kid, he ruined a prime chance to get prime research.
It's a sad story, and it's a ridiculous one, and one we can all take a lesson from. If you see shooting stars, you can't always just assume that they're shooting stars. So the other thing I want to talk about is actually, we're running out of time here. And with that, I thank you for coming on the show, Dr. Marvick.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening to this very special 50th episode of Minutes in Space. I'm your host, Gary Solmanek. Until next time.